When I woke up this morning, I was really feeling tired, but I didn't want to go back to sleep because I've got a lot of work to do. I'm actually behind on work. So I decided to go and get a Red Bull. I'm not really a coffee person. So when I bought this Red Bull, as I'm drinking it, something said, why don't you go to the Red Bull website and take a look at how it's designed? And I saw one of these products and I thought to myself, how about designing this in Divi 5? Is that possible? So I was brainstorming ways that I could put this together, and I came up with my own version. So this is what I created. And as I was playing with this, I really got excited. So I continued on and I created something like this. I'm going to teach you in this video how to create hero areas that look like this, that sell products. As you can see here, I mean, Red Bull is a massive company, and these type of layouts are important for freelancers and design agencies. And knowing how to put them together is also very, very important. So that's what I'm going to teach you in this video. But before we get started, I have something very interesting. I have a course called Divi Mastery Course. It's on diviuniversity.com. So you want to head over here to courses. This course is the ideal course if you want to get up and running with Divi 5. As you know, Divi has been built from the ground up. How Divi 4 used to work and how Divi 5 is now working is a massive difference. And this course is going to help you bridge that gap. As you can see, there's 838 students, and every day people are signing up for this course. It has a lot of information. So as you can see here, you're going to learn how the interface works. You're going to learn about the variable manager, and all these things are very important in modern design. Flexbox, I mean, there's a lot. You also learn how to use the library to save all your design layouts. And the most important part is the design workflow. A lot of people, when they go into Divi, they just get frozen. You know, you don't know what to start on. So this is a step-by-step process of how to set up your website each and every time to get a consistent looking website. So this course is only going for $27. When it's complete, it's going to cost $97. So this is the time to get it, because when I add new modules and new lessons, I will not be charging you extra. So this is the time to get this course right away. Anyway, let's dive in and let's get started. So over here, I'm starting off with a website, which is pretty much basic. It's a Divi 5 website. So when we take a look here, you can see we have a basic header here, and we don't even have a footer here. The header and footer template is absolutely free. I'll leave a link to that in the video description below. So when you download it, you get a file, which is a zip file that looks like this. You want to double click on it, and then it's going to open up this file here, .json. This is the file that we need. All right, so I'm just going to drag this over here to the side. Next, when you go to your Divi and then go to Divi library, you want to come over here to import and export. It's very important you do that. Next, you want to come over here to import and then choose file. So this is where we need to navigate to the download, which is right here. Make sure it's the .json file, okay? You don't want to upload the .zip because that won't work. So I'm going to double click on that. Or in fact, I'm going to click here to open it. And now we are ready to go. I'm just going to click now on import Divi builder layouts. And this now is going to be added onto our library. Excellent. So now that this has been added to the library, we're going to see all the entries over here on the left. And this just shows us that we are good to go. The next step is to come over here to the theme builder. And this is a two-step process. The first thing we want to do is to create our header. I want to say build global header. And then I'm going to now click here on this plus button to add a new section. But this time I'm going to click on add from library. Okay, so we need our header now. So this is our notice bar. This is our header light. So I'm going to click on that and then say use this section. So just like that, this is going to import our header. I'm going to close out of here and we are good to go. I'm going to hit save and exit. The next thing we need to do is to add our footer. So I'm going to come over here to add global footer, build global footer. And just like before, we're going to click here on this plus button, and then we're going to say add from library. This time it's a footer. So we're going to come over here to SK footer D for dark. I'm going to go ahead and do that and then say use this section. So this is going to add our footer. As you can see, everything looks great. I may need to come back here later to update all my links and so on, but so far so good. The only thing I need to do now is to delete this section here and then click on save. All right. So when we exit here and then save everything, if we now go to our website, we should see our header and footer now added to our site. So as you can see here, we don't have a header, we don't have a footer. Okay. So now I'm going to refresh this. And sure enough, now we have our header with our call to action. And when I scroll all the way down here, you can see now we have a beautiful footer. Now it's time to work on our page. So I'm going to get rid of these pages here. So the first thing you want to do is to head over to a website that has these royalty-free images. There's a technique here. Whatever product you're going to look for needs to cover the whole thing. I mean, the whole image, because that's how you're going to get it to pretty much isolate it. So I'm going to go with this product here and download the biggest version. So I'm going to go with that and then click on download. So now that I've downloaded it, it needs to go into Canva, because that is how we're going to be able to remove the background image. Because as you can see here, this product is free from the background image. Okay. So over here, we're going to open a template and we're going to go to custom size. So for the purposes of this example, I'm going to go with 1000 by 1000. And I'm also going to add a height of 1000 and then say create new design. All right. So now that we have this, I need to upload that image that I've just downloaded. So I'm going to come over here to upload. Okay. We're going to say upload. And here it is. I'm going to double click on that. And this image now is going to be uploaded onto Canva. Oops, I need to pay for my subscription. All right, so let's go ahead and add this. Okay, great. So now that I've added this, I just need to make it bigger. Okay, it's very, very important that it fits our canvas. Now, as you can see here, I've got so much space here on the top and the bottom, so the size may not be correct here, but you know what? It might work. Let's go ahead and continue with this. So with this now, the next step is to click on the background. The next step now is to find a product that we're going to add onto our page. So I've gone to Pexels, but you can use websites like Unsplash. I mean, pretty much it will do a similar job. But the trick is you want to choose a product which is pretty much dead center and it doesn't have any other items in the background, because we are going to isolate this product from the background. Okay, so let's go ahead and download this. So I'm going to come over here. So 1920 by 1300 is what we're going to go with. I'm going to select that and then download. All right, so now that I've downloaded it, we need to go to Canva, because Canva is where we can upload our image. So I'm going to come over here. So 1920 is going to be the dimensions, and then by 1300. Next, I'm going to say create new design. So now that I have this canvas to work with, I'm going to come over here to uploads, and then you want to upload the image that we downloaded. In this case, I've already uploaded it, so I'm just going to add it to my canvas. So I'm going to increase the size like that, but not all the way, because it's important that we add our background color, which I'll show you in a moment. So with the image selected here, you want to remove the background. So I'm going to click here on this AI background remover, and in a few seconds, the background is going to be removed. And as you can see, it's removed. But it's not very clear yet because the background was kind of like whitish. So now I've clicked on the actual background. Okay, so I've clicked here on the background. It's white. So the next thing I want to do is to click here on background color. Now, the reason why I chose Canva is because it chooses the colors from my shoes. And this is a very good way of designing, by the way, because you need to work with colors that are already on your product. So if you can see here, our product is looking great on this background. We can even go for the darker version. Oops. If we click on the background, we could even go for the darker version. Look at that. Or we can go with this one, right? So pretty much we can choose whatever we want. Now, there's one thing that I noticed while I was creating this, and that is, as you can see, it looks like this is just floating in the air. Ideally, we want to have some shadows. Thankfully, there are some shadows. So if I come over here to elements and search for shadows, we'll see that we have quite a few. So we have this one right here, and we have a basic one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try both and see how they work. So I'm going to drag this one down here, but already I can see that this might not work the way I want. Let's have a look. Nope. As you can see here, this is not working. So you want to choose the one that works. So let me say see all. So I can choose the perfect one. So I want something small, very subtle. I don't want something massive. There we go. So you see now? So I think if we just add that, that just makes this even more realistic, because at least now it doesn't look like it's floating. Okay. So one more thing here. I don't know why we have this white line on the background. I'm not sure why, but anyway, I think if we export this, this should look fine. All right. So now that we have our product, we can now go to share, download, and then we're going to come over here to PNG, change this to JPEG, and then click on download. Okay, so now that our image is downloading, the next thing now is to create our layout in Divi. So we're going to go to our Divi website here and create a brand new page. So I'm going to say page. Okay, and for this layout, I'm just going to call it shoes. I'm going to say use Divi Builder. And for this, I'm going to go with two layouts or two columns. So I'm going to go ahead and select this. So in the left, I'm going to add a text module, and I know we're going to have a button, so I might as well add it. So I'm going to click here on this plus button here and add our button. Okay, great. So now that we have these two, over here on the right is where we're going to have our shoes, and we know it's going to be an image. Oops, I'm typing shoes. It's supposed to be image. All right, let's go ahead and add our image. And then I'm going to click over here on the right and upload our image that we've just downloaded. I'm going to say select files. And then here it is. Double click on that. And we are going to upload the image. Okay, great. So we have our image now. And so far, everything looks great. The next step now is to add our background color to this section. So I'm going to click here on my section settings. Now we need to go back to Canva, because the color that we need, oops, I've got the wrong image here. The color that we need is this dark color here. So I'm going to click on it, click once on it over here, and then you want to click once and then one more time. So this is going to give us our hexadecimal value for our color. So I'm going to copy that, and we're going to come over here to our product, making sure we're on the background. I'm going to say background and then click our background color. So we're just going to paste it in here like that. Hit enter. And now we have a seamless background. Look at that. Isn't that cool? So at this stage now, you need to decide how things are going to look. And normally when I design at this stage, I want to make sure that everything fits the way it's supposed to. So I'm going to go in my rows over here, because I know that my size is 1080, and in most cases 1080 is not the right size. So I'm going to come over here and set this to 1366 pixels. Okay, so it's nice and big now. And what I'm also going to do is to reduce the sizes to my spec. So I'm going to go into my row settings here and then go to layout. Oops, I'm going to go to content, elements, and the first one here, I'm going to go into design, sizing. So for this one here, I want to set it to 40%. So I'm going to hit enter, because I don't want it as big, or it needs to be slightly smaller. And then on the other one, the other column, I'm going to go back, and then I'm going to hit back one more time, and then go to the second column, which has the shoes. So I'm going to click here, and you can see here, the contents is the image. I'm going to go to design, and then sizing. So this one here needs to be 60, and then hit enter. So now you can see it is slightly bigger. All right, so this is taking 60% of the space, and that is taking 30. Now it's up to you if you want to set this to 70, right? So it can be a 70-30 type of layout, depending on how much content you're going to add onto the first one. You can play around with that too. So you can say 70, and now that is bigger. In fact, that has worked. So now that we have this, we need to further customize this now. We need to give this some breathing space. So this is where now we are going to change things a little bit. Usually you can go in and add your sizes manually. So I'm going to click on this gear icon and I'm going to show you exactly where to go if you want to do that. You would come over here to spacing, and this is where you'd add your padding. So let's say you want to add 4 you'd enter it like that, and then adjust the size to how much you want it to be. But I don't choose this method because what happens is when people start viewing this website on mobile devices, it will have crazy spaces. So I go with fluid spacing, and this we get it from the SiteKrafter framework. So the SiteKrafter framework is my product. It's totally different. It's a Divi 5 framework which has all the sizes all set up for you. The colors, the sizes, and everything is all set up. So that's what I normally want to use. I don't like going into the design tab here to add all my sizes. So what I'm going to do is to remove this like that, and just refresh, reset this. So what I'll need to do at this stage is making sure that I have section settings selected. I'm going to go to advanced attributes. And this is where I'm going to now do what is known as class-based editing. This type of editing is very powerful because it makes sure that all your websites are super consistent. So what I need here is a class. Now, at the moment, I have to close this and then open it again for this to work. We're working on an update. So by the time you watch this, probably this is going to be fixed very soon. So what I need here is, you can see all my classes are there. We have a ton of classes all set up for me already. Okay, so what I need here is my section sizes. So I have all these section sizes already done for me. So I'm going to go with medium, and you can see now that my size is already set, and this is fluid. When I go to a smaller screen, everything is going to look, really nice because it's going to reduce based on the clamp sizes. Okay, so it's not going to look very weird. You see the padding here. Okay, but we're not done yet because we really want to make this look great. So we've added our padding here. The next thing we need to do is to work on our text. So again, I'm going to come in here, go to my attributes, class, and I'm going to name it class. And then we're going to close it again and open it. All right. So now that we have this is going to be title text. So I'm going to say SK for our headings. So we have all our heading sizes here, and as you can see, the size has increased. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go to Lorem 2 to get some dummy text. Okay, so now that I have this, I'm just going to grab a little bit of text here that's going to act as my main heading title. So I'm going to come back over here, and now let's close out of here. So with this selected, we're going to go to content, text, and then we're going to replace this like that. Now, do you see how the size now has just worked? Now, usually I would use my class system to choose my colors, but because we're working on a specific layout here, which is unique, what I need to do is to come over here to Canva. So let's close this. We need to come over here to Canva and choose our colors again. So when I click in the anywhere here, it will show my colors, and I'm going to go with this color because these are the sort of colors that are already there. In fact, I've clicked the wrong thing. These are the colors that are already there in my layout. So if I click here, I have to click back over here to the background color, and I'm going to click this twice so I can get the hexadecimal value and then copy it. So with that copied now, I'm going to come back, and that's what I want to add as my text color. So over here now, I'm going to go to design, text, and I'm going to make sure I choose text color and then paste it in here. Hit enter, and you can see now my text's color is pretty much from the same palette over here. But what I'm going to do slightly different is I'm going to make it even brighter so it's much easier to read, but again, within the same sort of like color space. Okay, because contrast is very, very important as we design. So now that I have this, I may want to add perhaps a description text. I'm going to duplicate this. This time, I'm not going to go to advanced and then go to attributes and so on. I'm just going to right click, and then I'm going to say inspect. So with my inspect here, I can go to content, attributes, and I can just change this to just my normal description text. But of course, that text is not enough. So I'm going to come over here and grab a bit more to have a nice description. Okay, so with that now, I'm just going to select it here, go to content, and then I'm just going to replace this. Hit enter, and now I have a description for this. I'm going to close my inspector here, and so far so good. I mean, we are getting somewhere with this design. So as you look at this text here, you see that things are pretty much all over the place. You know, the spacing is not right. You know, it's just the default that you get when you set up Divi. Now, you don't want to use the normal spacing because that's not professional, right? And I'm going to show you in a moment how we're going to change that. But we need to work on this button. So we're going to go into this button here. We're going to say buy now, okay? Like that. So the colors, we want this yellow here, you see? So we're going to come over here to design, and then we're going to go to button and then use custom styles for button. So this allows us to go in and really customize this button. So I'm going to go to button background. And for my button background here, I'm just going to choose something that's very close to this bright yellow there, okay? Because we know that color is in the shoe. Let me just tone it down a little bit. Okay, how about something like that? All right, great. So I'm going to copy it because I know I'm going to use it for my button border. Okay, so I'm going to scroll down here, go to button border, and it's going to ask me for the color, which is right here. And then I'm going to go in and paste it, hit enter, and now my button is now solid. So as we look at that, we can see that our button colors, they don't work well together. We need to change that. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to button text, and this is where we're going to change this to a really dark gray. Okay, now do you see how the button really stands out now? It is very easy to read and it is much, much better. Okay, so with that, I'm going to close. And pretty much I am good to go to the next step, which is my spacing system. Because right now we're using the default spacing that Divi gives us, and we don't want to do that. So I'm going to click here on my row settings. It's very important you do that. We're going to go to content, and we're going to go to elements. So what we need here is the first one, okay? The first column. We're going to go in, and then we're going to go into advanced, layout, and then we're going to zero this out. So we're going to make sure this is set to 0. That is set to 0. Hit enter, and everything now comes together, right? So we have taken away all the default values that you get with Divi. Now we're going to go into the middle one because I find it easier. Okay, I'm going to select this middle one, and then I'm going to go to advanced attributes, and then I'm going to click on this little icon here. This is where we need to add our spacing system, and it's very, very important. Now watch what I'm going to do. We need to add our margin to the top. So I'm going to say MT for our margin, and this is where we get to choose small, medium, large, and so on, extra large. Now this spacing is also based on clamp, which means as the websites get smaller, the spacing also shrinks with the screen size. And these are the little details that are very important when you design professional websites. All right, so let's go ahead and do that. So I'm going to start off with my spacing. So I've used small for the top, and then I'm going to say margin bottom, right? And I'm going to go with extra small, which is right here. So if you're wondering, the size that I have here, for example, is half what I have here. I mean, this is a topic for another day, but that is how the spacing works. But if you feel like, okay, it's too small, you can go with the S, and then you can have equal spacing here. But as you look at this, of course, our spacing is calculated from this bottom P here up to here. And then if you measure it, you'll find that this is the same, but it looks like there's a bit more. So you just have to be very careful when you design. Okay, so this is now looking great, but I am not done yet because I want to make sure that everything is centered here. So I'm going to go into design, and you see everything is starting at the top. What if I go to the bottom here and center it? Now, do you notice that it hasn't worked? Okay, I'm just going to reset this, okay? And I'll tell you why it hasn't worked. When it comes to setting things up, right now we're on the text. And this is what I've realized when using Divi. You want to make sure you're in the right elements. So let's go back to our columns. Okay, so we need the first column. So we're going to go in, design, layout, and now it should work. So I'm going to say center. You see that? Now it is centered. Yeah, it can be really, confusing. So now that we have this layout, it's pretty much done. Okay, it's pretty much done. We now want to make this look beautiful on all screen sizes. So what I'm going to do next is to go to this tablet view, and already I can see that things don't look right. Things don't look right here. Things are a bit squished. You can see all this text here. It doesn't look great. I would like to have things stacked. So in order for me to get that stacked, I'm going to make sure I'm in my row here. As you can see, we are in the row on the top. As you can see, my direction is horizontal. We want to change this to column. Okay, so this is where things get very exciting. In our column here, you can see that our shoe is here on the bottom. If you want the shoe on the top, here's what you need to do. You're going to do that. And then now my shoe is on the top. But you see that the shoe is small. That is because our sizes is still set to 70. Remember, we set this to 70%. Let's go to our content here and I'll show you. I'm going to go back to elements, column, okay? And we are now going to design, layout. Nope, no, not layout. We need to go to sizing. So you see that it's set to 40%. Now let's bring this to 100%. Okay, because obviously it's on a column now. So we're going to say 100 and then hit enter. So now we see that our text is pretty much covering a lot of the space. I'm going to go back to content, back to row, and then I'm going to go to the bottom one. Now remember, we had changed them. This is the one with the image. I'm going to go to design, layout. I keep going back to layout. We need to go to sizing. Instead of 70, we're going to say 100. Hit enter. And now this is looking much, much better. Okay. It's looking much, much better. Now, if you want to go ahead and center all this, it's up to you. And if we now go to the phone, now, do you notice how everything is, it just looks great. The sizing, look at the sizing here. Okay. It shrinks based on the screen size. And that is beautiful. Our design here is pretty much complete. It's mobile friendly and it has all the elements that it needs for this to qualify as a professionally designed hero area. I mean, how cool is that? Anyway, guys, thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to go to Divi University. If you're not a member of the community, go ahead and sign up. It's absolutely free. And also, if you want to buy me a coffee, head over to diviuniversity.com. In fact, let me just show you here quickly, diviuniversity.com. On the top right, you'll see buy Mac a coffee. If you like these tutorials and you like the effort I'm putting into this, you can just buy me a coffee. I'll really appreciate that. And also, don't forget to buy the course. That course is very, very important. Until next time, thanks for watching. I'll see you again in the next one. Take care.